Welcome to another video on data to decisions. In the recent videos, we've been doing a lot of different variations of column charts, and I'm going to continue in this video. Specifically, we'll be building a very simple progress tracker using a column chart in Microsoft Excel. This is applicable where you're tracking progress or actual versus a goal or a target across different categories. In this example, I have different departments and I'm measuring the progress of each department against their goals. And in this specific scenario, the goal maximum will be only 100%. That means the actual progress cannot exceed 100%. In those type of scenarios, such a progress tracker visual can be very effective. So this is what we'll be building in this video from scratch in Microsoft Excel. Let's get started. So we'll start with the raw data as usual. So we have the department and the actual values, actual percentages of progress. And what we will do to begin with will be entering a target. In this case, as I said, this is a scenario where 100% is the target for all the departments. So I'm going to that in. And so now that we are done with the data, I can select all the values and go and say insert a 2D column chart. And this will give me a 2D column chart like this. The colors may differ based on the theme that you have in your Microsoft Excel, but you should have something like this, where there are two columns for each department, one representing the actual, one representing the target. Great. Now, next thing we want to do is to right click and format data series, and you can choose any one, and then make sure that the series overlap is 100%. This actually makes the two columns together, but unfortunately the order in which the actual and the targets are presented in the data, so we have actual first and then the target. That is why this looks like this, where everything is 100%, because the target is overriding or completely overshadowing the actuals. So to change this, right click, go to select data, and you can change the order in which the two series are added to the chart. So I'm going to click on actual, make the actual come to the front. So in this dialog box, whichever series is lower, that is the series which is closer to us on screen. So for example, as soon as I changed it, now I can see the actual in front of the target. So the target goes behind to the background, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to hit OK. So now it's kind of shaping out to be the progress tracker we want. Quickly, let's right click on the yellow, which is the target. And then let's change the colors a little bit. So I want to give a lighter version shade of color. So I'm going to go with the blue, light blue. And then for blue, I will go with the darker or a bolder color for the actual value. So let's say something like this. Okay. Now the important thing is once you select the target series, you can go here to the fill. Just now change the fill color. But what I forgot to do was the border. So let's click on the solid line, and then you want to give the same color that we gave for the actuals, and then increase the width a little bit. So now you can start seeing that it looks like a container, and then the actual values are filling up the container up to 100%. So it's starting to look good. Let's put the labels. Right click on the actual series and then add data labels, and it'll add them to the top. So we can always change it. Click on the labels and then go to the options here, label options, and then choose inside end. So this will make sure that it'll come inside our darker blue column, and I can change the font color to be something a little bit different. I can go and make the font size a little bit smaller so that it fits within the column. I will do my some of my standard formatting that we do for all the charts. But before that, one thing I want to do is to right click here and make sure that in the percentages on the y-axis, if you single or left click on it, you will be able to go and make sure that in the axis options, um, you would want to make sure that the minimum is 0 and the maximum, I'm going to change it to 1.1. And I'll tell you why. and the minimum also changed. So the minimum should be 0. So make sure you type 0, press enter, type 1.1, press enter. What I'll tell you why we have to do this, but this is something that will be true for almost all the scenarios. Whenever we do the column charts, there are some scenarios where the number can be negative, but in this specific type of chart, when we're measuring progress, it doesn't make sense to have negative progress in this example. So I'm going to hard code the x-axis, y-axis to start from 0. And I want to go to 1.1, which is nothing but 110%, because I want to have a little bit of room above the 100% target. And that's why I'm doing 1.1. And it's not going to show up because if I again click on it, go to the axis options, the major unit, make sure we make it as zero point 0.2. It is nothing but 20%. So why do we do that? When we do, let's say zero point 0.2, okay. When we make that 20%, the y-axis will start from 0. Every 20%, there will be a label. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. There will not be any for 110 because we made sure that the intervals or units are 20%. So that's how we make sure that the 110% doesn't show up and we can still see 100%. So this is perfect. So now we got the axis done, and I'm going to remove the legend. So I'll click on the legend and remove it because it doesn't really add any value in this context, because it's very clear that this is a progress tracker and this darker column indicates the actual, and then the border or the container is the target of the code. Now I will quickly right click and format the grid lines to make them not so prominent. And then we will do the chart title, progress tracker by department, and you can format this also. I'm just going to do some simple formatting there. And then I will do this is the chart title, and you could add the axis titles here. And the general recommendation is if it's very obvious what it is, please don't add the text. I mean, in this case, I already put in the title that it's progress tracker by department. So I don't want to put department again. It's very obvious. So I'm going to delete the x-axis title. The y-axis title, again, we are measuring progress in a percentage. In this case, if I don't want it, I will remove the axis title. I'm I gave you those options because in your scenario, for what you're using this for, if the title, access titles are required for the users who are you are presenting the data to, add them. If it doesn't add any value, if it doesn't really, if it's not needed, make sure that you remove them to remove as much clutter as possible from your chart. So now the chart looks like where we want it to be. So one final thing we'll do is if you want the entire chart to be formatted with a border, then you can click on the outside of the chart and then click on the border solid line. I like to do this, and I make the rounded borders so that we have this nice view. And it depends if you're actually embedding this within a dashboard where you don't want any of these borders. Again, it's your choice. You can go and say no line, and that removes a border, and you can actually embed it within another page in your dashboard to make it really integrate nicely and fit. So if you have any questions about this approach, let me know. If you have other methods by which you provide or create progress trackers using column charts, please let me know in the comment section. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you soon in another video. Thank you.